You know, when this HOH was first announced, I was not expecting this week to go the way it did. I was actually expecting this to be more of a slow, boring week, but you know what? I am so glad that I was wrong. The veto ceremony is now over and the nominations are officially set for the week. And these choices may shock you. But before I get into all of that, of course, I'm going to ask if you would please hit that subscribe button below if you have not already. I've said this before and I'll say it here now. If you are someone who typically only relies on the TV edit for your Big Brother coverage, you are really missing out because the live feeds are the show. It's really where all the fun is, and here on my channel, I try to provide quick recaps on what happens on the feeds day to day. I try to be brief, but I also like to include the clips so that you can watch the action unfold for yourself. So if you are someone who is wanting a deeper dive into what actually goes on the show, then this is the channel for you, and make sure you're subscribed. Now, let's get started. So when we last left off, Keanu had just won the power of veto, leaving Lauren with a very difficult choice to make. She had already struggled with nominations so much during the first part of her HOH, and so now things are just going to get way more complicated. Lauren has just been playing kind of scared this whole week in general. She doesn't want to hurt anybody's feelings, and she doesn't want to get any blood on her hands. So even though technically there are plenty of people to nominate, she's really only limiting herself to Ashley and Adrian simply because they've both been on the block before. Like, in her eyes, these are really her only two options, and one of them is honestly way better than the other. I actually think that nominating Ashley is like the perfect play for Lauren, and I went into this a lot more in my last video, so definitely make sure you check that one out if you wanted more info on that. But I just think that Lauren is so scared of drawing a line in the sand, even though the line is already there. She's really already on one side of the house, even though she thinks she's more in the middle than she actually is. So throughout the next day or so, people are gonna try pushing and pulling her in different directions. So I'm just gonna kind of talk about things from the perspective of Ashley's side and Adrian's side, since there aren't really any harsh alliance lines here. So this is what Ashley's side of the house is doing. Since Lauren's main thing seems to be that she's scared of this other side retaliating, they are basically going to try to ease her mind and soothe her and cut a bunch of deals to make Lauren feel more comfortable. They want to ensure her safety as a group and pretty much promise that nobody from this side is going to put her up at all.
You know, when you think of it, I mean, you're right there. It's like Adrian does not have many people that he's working with. Yeah. I'm not saying Ashley has as many people as she's working with. There's a lot of people that she's connected to. You know what I mean? At
some point, I believe she's even promised safety until jury or something. Now, do they actually intend on keeping their word? Who really knows? Ashley is also going to fight for herself pretty hard on this. And she's saying the right things in her pitch. She's saying how her and her friends are never going to come after Lauren, and how Adrian is a much tougher competitor than her in the first place. And what I really like about Ashley here is that she is not afraid of guilt tripping Lauren or making her feel bad at all. Ashley's even trying to do the fake crying and all this stuff in these conversations too. In total, she ends up having like 4 or 5 meetings with Lauren, and she is very persistent in all of them. I will give her that.
He's a competitor. He's the next best competitor, I would say. Here, probably. Like, now you've cleared the way for you're next to him. You know what I'm saying? Like, in after jury or whatever, if someone does that, you know, you could beat pretty much everyone.
And over on Adrian's side of the house, people are again trying to soothe her and tell her that she has enough votes to evict Ashley, because that seems to be Lauren's big fear here, is that Ashley won't actually leave. And even I'll admit that if Lauren does make this move and Ashley somehow, some way does end up staying in the house, then that would not be looking good for Lauren at all. Now, Adrian is also pretty persistent with his pitch as well. His main thing is that there are more threats over on his side of the house, really talking about people like Kelley and Keanu. So if she does end up sticking with them, then she'll kind of be able to hide a little bit more. And honestly, that's kind of true. I mean, this side does have a lot of people in it. They're just not as connected as the other side. And since Adrian's side is less connected and they look to be all over the place, they probably also don't seem as threatening either. Now, if Lauren was a better player, then maybe she would do something like, I don't know, take all those people that are on Adrian's side of the house and get them all together in alliance that she's in the center of. That way she can go ahead and make her moves this week with a little bit more confidence, knowing that she has an army behind her. But something like that would require a lot of bravery, so clearly that's not going to get done. So overall, even with all of this going on, I still think that Ashley is the correct person for Lauren to target. And I feel like Lauren thinks that too, but there is going to be one last big random thing standing in the way, and that is Keanu. See, Keanu is definitely on the anti-Ashley side of things, and he wants this girl on the block so bad that he's actually going to offer to take the heat and all the credit for this entire HOH reign. See, Keanu's pitch to Lauren is that she should, 1, put Ashley up on the block, and then 2, claim that this was all Keanu's mastermind plan the entire time in order to secretly backdoor Ashley.
Fair and square and use it on myself. I get to pick who the nomination is, who the renom is, okay? That way you don't get literally any blood on your hands. That's a great deal because you're under a lot of pressure. I willingly put myself on the block, okay?
Okay.
That should take all the heat off of you.
Keanu is trying to help make this decision easier by taking all the blame, but it's actually going to have the complete opposite effect. See, ever since she first won, there has been this perception in the house that Lauren is the type of person to just let other people run her HOH and do whatever they tell her to do. And look, there is definitely some truth to this statement, okay? But Lauren still doesn't like being perceived this way, no matter how true it is. So the fact that Keanu is now trying to propose this and take credit for all of her work is really, really going to turn her off.
Tell Vinny what you said, Keanu, your thought about the whole Keanu situation.
You know, I told you the thing about the Keanu thing, how he would take the fall.
Yeah,
now he's taking the fall either way. He said that the whole master plan was for me to put him on the block so that I can backdoor Ashley. And that he's taking over my HOH. And now all the girls think that. Well, now at this point, they're going to think that I'm working with Keanu.
So now, as time goes by, it's looking more and more like Lauren is starting to lean the other way. I mean, she already perceives Ashley's side of the house as being bigger and badder, so she doesn't want to get on their bad side. And now all of this stuff with Keanu is just pushing her away even further. Lauren is literally undecided until the moment her name is called into that DR. It was especially scary since Zach and Vince were the very last people to talk to Lauren before she went in. So I was kind of thinking that maybe they would change her mind at the last moment. But when the feeds came back on after nominations, everybody was gagged to see that Adrian was indeed up on that block. It doesn't sound like there was a fight or blow up or anything like that, but Adrienne is obviously pissed and Kelley is too, even to the point where she's vowing to throw her game away for Adrian if need be and everything.
But I can't send Adrian home. I know we're not supposed to say this, but I would rather forfeit to keep Adrian here than be here myself.
But overall, to my surprise, no one really seems to be super duper angry at Lauren or vowing to get revenge on her or anything like that. At least not publicly. We may have to wait to see everybody's DRs to find out what they're really thinking. Overall, I just think this is such a shitty HOH reign for Lauren, no matter who goes home this week, honestly. But when it's all said and done, I think this is going to end up being worse for Adrian's side of the house more than Lauren, if anything. Keanu's social status is now somehow even worse after ruining everything. Adrian and Kelley are obviously on the block, and Vince's rat floater game is now starting to get clocked left and right after he spent so much time with Lauren this week. Vince has just been pretending to be on everybody's side, so now he has a lot of damage control to do.
Ashley and Rachel, if they outright ask you, who was Vince pitching? If you can say he's kind of unbiased, he didn't tell me what to do, but he was leaning towards putting Adrian on the block because that's what actually happened.
Okay.
That can save face with people with all of a sudden they're like, oh wow, Lauren just confirmed that Vince wasn't gunning for Ashley.
Right now, Will does still look the safest no matter what, and Kelley still looks like she's going to be in the most danger heading into the vote. But during the next few days, I wouldn't be surprised if there was a push to evict Will at all costs, just to weaken that other side of the house, if anything. I don't think the numbers are gonna end up being there, but I'm sure people are still gonna try, and there is technically still time for things to change. I just think it's funny how at the beginning of the week, Lauren explicitly said that she did not want to see Kelley or Will or Adrian go home, and now look where we are. So that is our main storyline for the day, but there are still a few other things happening around the house that I'd like to touch on as well. I hate that I have to report this, but amongst all this drama, there may be a little bit of trouble in paradise between Morgan and Mickey. Basically, this all started when Mickey had noticed that Morgan had been getting a lot closer to Zach and Vince, which is true. Like, these three do kind of sort of have a trio thing going on. It's not really an alliance per se, but they do talk game together quite a bit. And at first, this was nothing really too deep. It was just something that Mickey had kind of noticed, and she had voiced it to people like Jimmy, which is fine. But I think things started to get sticky when Mickey decided to point this out to the wrong person, which is Adrian. See, Mickey's toxic trait is that sometimes she thinks she has people way more than she actually does. And last week, Mickey had decided to keep Adrian in the game, so she started talking to him more and getting a lot closer to him. And now she thinks she is way closer to him than she actually is. So Adrian is just going to take all this information that Mickey's been saying, and he's going to start passing it around to people like Zach and even Lauren.
Mickey told me that she does, like, Morgan is expendable and Jimmy is expendable. She's just keeping her enemies closer. You know, she wants to keep Rachel as a shield. She wants to keep Jimmy as a shield. But she's telling me that because she thinks I'm not going to tell anyone. Simply because, but I know she's lied to me multiple times. And I owe nothing to her.
So yeah, I just really hate this for Mickey. I hate that she told Adrian of all people. And I'm hoping that this is not going to come back to bite her in the ass.
Mickey came to him with a potential alliance of him, her, Will, Ava, and Ashley. Those 5. That's why I was trying to hint at that. Oh, yeah.
Also, Mickey's power is very, very much public knowledge now. Like, I'm pretty sure even Keanu knows about it at this point. So I doubt that she'll be able to use it successfully at all right now, but at least nobody except for Morgan knows what the power actually is. It is still definitely possible that Mickey gets put on the block just to flush the power, so we're just gonna have to see on that. So that is all I have for you today. Of course, I want to know, what do you think of Lauren's nominations? Do you think she made the right move for her game, or do you think she should have done something else instead? Let me know in the comments below. I am personally speechless. Like I said in the intro, I was not expecting the week to go the way it has, but at the same time, I am very thankful for it because it's been fun, I'm not gonna lie. Of course, I'll be back here likely on Wednesday just to give y'all an update on where things stand with the vote. But until then, bye.